So this is something you will have to do before you get. Hey my babes, welcome back to my channel if you're not new here, but if you are new, hey, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to study your course material. So there are 4 steps that can increase effectiveness in learning and retaining your course material and learning activities. So those 4 steps is to review, create, skim, and then read. So number 1, review. So first thing you want to do is open up to the chapter you need to read. You want to review headings, titles, tables, and figures in your reading. In the chapter you're about to read, you're going to be able to go through each page and look for those and read them and just kind of analyze it. Just quickly analyze it. So number 2, skim. You want to focus on the text that is bolded, italicized, and underlined. Number 3 is create. You want to be able to come up with some questions that you get along the way of skimming the chapter. So from the titles that you're seeing, from the keywords that you're picking up on, you want to be able to formulate some questions that you can ask your peers, that you can go Google, and you can take to your professor. And then number 4 is to read the chapter. This technique is based on you doing your reading before you get to lecture. So this is not after, because the question portion of it requires you to go and ask your professor to clarify on questions that you have gathered and came up with during your reading process. So this is something you will have to do before you get to class. Another study method is the SQ3R. And this is another great way, another great technique to retain information and improve comprehension. So this is a more active process and it promotes learning, exploration, and questioning. So the SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. So the first one, number 1, is survey, and in this section you are going to skim the chapter titles, subheadings, main headings, introductory sentences, first and last paragraph. You're going to skim through it. It's a more in-depth of the first method, so you're going to do that in the first survey section of SQ3R. You're going to do all of that. You're skimming titles, reading first and second sentences, looking first and last paragraphs, and picking out important details that you're like viewing that's jumping out at you. Number 2, questioning. So for questioning, it's the same thing like before, is you're going to formulate questions along the way of looking through the chapter. As you're skimming the chapter, you're gonna come with questions. So who, what, when, where, and why, and how related to the reading. You want to use that as a base foundation to come up with questions. Number 3 is read. So while you're reading, you want to focus on being able to understand and pick up the information that's going to answer the questions that you have formulated as you were skimming previously. You also, in this part, want to make notes and highlight important information that you feel like is important that you will need later on. Number 4, recite. You want to be able to recite key information and repeatedly do this multiple times. Number 5, review. You want to revisit the information following the once rule, basically 1 day, 1 week, and then 1 month. So you want to come back after 1 day, go back to it after 1 week, and then return back to it after 1 month. And I know nursing school is different, so there's going to be a accelerated program and the regular kind of traditional route, and you need to look at that and schedule out, like looking back at your information a few times. So if that's twice a week, and then the next week you look at it once a week, and then finals week you go back to it 3 times, you can like schedule out like that. So basically the point is to look at it, review it, and then stop. Just leave it alone for a day or 2 or 3 days, whatever that looks like for you, and then come back to it and try to see what you know versus what you don't know, what you need to brush up on, and then come back, take a note of what you didn't remember, go back to it, see if you can fill in those blanks that you missed out on, and then go back to your paper and see, okay, did I get it this time? If you don't, try again. You know, that's the process. So let's talk about different forms of note-taking. There are so many different ways you can take notes, as we already know. You can watch videos, listen to lectures, and write down on a paper, on your iPad, on your laptop. Watch videos to take notes from that. Studying with a group. When you're taking notes, you want to be able to focus on important keywords, concepts, and topics that are being discussed. So the most important part when it comes to learning, I call this the because if you realize the has R's going on. As soon as I say it, you're going to pick up all the R's that are going to come along this line, but it's super important. Let me say it. You want to make sure that you are reviewing your notes, reorganizing, and rewriting the information to reinforce learning and increase retention. So did you catch it? Did you catch my drift? That's what I call it because there's so much R's, but it's a punchline that you need to remember, okay? Write that down. So if you have test anxiety, I don't really have test anxiety, but I could sometimes feel it trying to arise when I'm in a testing environment. And so this is what I would do. So this method has helped me practice and get a little bit better with my emotions when I go into a testing setting, because I do sometimes feel that jitteriness. My stomach kind of feels like a knot is in there. I get sweaty. I kind of forget sometimes what I know, and it could be a mess, and it's okay. It's totally normal. So this is what we're going to do to be able to improve our body language, our composure, and our emotions during those times, because it's going to happen often. It's nursing school. We're going to be tested every damn week, and you're going to have multiple tests every week. So let me walk you through the steps on how to create a testing environment so you can practice and get better. So the first thing you want to do is set up a space as if you were about to take an exam. So whether that's your living room, a desk that's like a quiet area in your room, a table outside of your room if you can't really focus in your room. Some people can't focus in your room. So I can't focus in my room, so I had to come out here in my living room, on the kitchen bar, whatever that looks like for you. You want a space that's clear, because obviously when you're taking an exam, 9 times out of 10, your desk, or 10 times out of 10 actually, 10 times out of 10, not really 10 times out of 10, because sometimes you can use notes for certain classes. So we're gonna say 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have a cleared environment. So you wanna clear out in a space, okay? Pretend this is like you're taking a test. So you're going into a classroom to get ready to take an exam. You wanna turn off your phone and allow no one to come into your space in your environment. So if you have an apartment, just tell people to stay in the room, or do it when no one's home. Or if you have a house, tell people to stay upstairs. Now you are about to take an exam. And say you're about to take an exam, don't say you're about to take a practice exam, because then you're tricking your mind to think this not nothing serious. This is serious. Okay, so say you're about to take an exam, they're gonna shut they up if they know you're taking an exam. So make sure you enforce that. Hey, I'm taking an exam. I need you to keep your behind upstairs in the room, quiet like a mouse. I need to hear it. I'm taking an exam. So yeah, you want to turn off your phone and put it away in a book bag. Make sure you carry your book bag too while you're really taking an exam. You want to be in full test mode. Okay, put your phone in your bag, turn it off, put it in your bag, and put your book bag to the side of you, wherever you place it as if you're an exam. That's on the chair, on the side, whatever that may look like. You guys may leave it in the front. Sometimes, I remember when I was growing up, we had to sometimes leave our book bag up in the front of the classroom before we took an exam. Yes, it was that serious. So you want to grab the materials you would need for the exam. So if that's a blank sheet of paper, pens, pencils, a calculator, whatever that is, your laptop, you need to make sure you have your material on hand as if you were taking an exam. Then you want to sit at a table that is clutter-free. If you can, try to time yourself. So you may not be able to turn off your phone. So going back to that point, if you're using your phone as a timer, you can just leave it on and use it as a timer and put it on Do Not Disturb and put a timer for the time that you will for an exam. You want to make sure you're timing yourself, because that way you are basing yourself against time, and against how well you are able to complete an exam against time that you would be taken as if you were in nursing school in a nursing exam setting. So you want to complete your exam with no external help. Obviously, it's an exam, so I will hope you know that, but that's common sense. And if you need a practice exam, like for anything, have ChatGPT create you an exam based and tell it all the criteria based on what your exams will look like for whatever nursing class you're taking. So everyone's exams are different lengths, right? You may have a class that's 50 questions, that says 100 questions, 75 question exam. You need to know what that looks like for that class. You need to know how much time your professor gives for you to take that exam, and you need to emulate that in your environment when you're taking your practice exam. So while you take this practice exam, I want you to complete the full exam. I don't want you to go back and be like, dang, I don't know this answer. I don't know this question. I don't know, not the answer. Yeah, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm not familiar with this type of question. Instead of going to look at the answer, don't do that. Focus as if it was a real exam. You cannot go back and look at any answer in an exam. You don't even have access to answers in an exam. So why would you, in your right mind, think in a practice exam that you're gonna just go back and look at practice answers, your practice exam questions answer? That's not really happening in a real life. You need to emulate the real life setting. So don't do that. Make sure you complete the exam to its entirety. Try to answer every question to the best of your ability. If you don't know an answer, make sure you go back to it. Some exams don't let you go back to it depending on how your exam is set up. Like I know some people take exams and you can't go back to certain questions. So if that's what your exams look like, try to answer the question before move on to the next question. If you don't know it, just pick an answer, see. How to answer the question before moving on. But if you are allowed to go back in the question and you're not the type of person that you skip and come back to it when you have time later on after you answer all the questions, do that. That works for me too. I'm more that type of person. If I don't know a question, I don't like to get stuck on it because then I'll start stressing myself out. I'll start thinking I'm stupid, and then my confidence level will decrease throughout the rest of the exam. So instead of focusing on it, I'll be like, girl, we're gonna figure this out later. Because then it gives me time to tell myself, like, you read it once, you didn't understand it, but that doesn't mean that you're not gonna come back and get it the second time later, if that makes sense. Sometimes it takes me 2 to 3 times to read something and I understand it. So if I just start reading it 3 or 4 times and I'm not getting it, I start getting like sweaty, hands start shaking, I'm nervous, I'm thinking that I'm slow. So I don't need that type of stuff. So I skip it. I'm like, girl, you got this. You're gonna come back to it. You're gonna get the answer when you come back. So that is that. So like I said, just to piggyback on what I said previously, do not leave any answers, do not leave questions unanswered. No, that's a big no-no. You have a 25% of 1 in 4 chance of getting that right. You might as well take that 25% chance instead of having 0% chance if you skip it or don't answer it. So doing this practice exam method, helps you improve on taking your exams and working with the time of the exam. It has so many benefits. You get better over time. You get less anxiety, less stress. You feel more confident going into the environment. You feel more empowered and in control when you're stepping into these testing environments because you practice so many times or a few times. You just feel like you know what you're getting yourself into because you've done it before. Your brain is familiar, like, hey, I've done this multiple times. This is easy. You feel more relaxed, you feel more calm. And then last but not least, you want to develop a positive mental attitude when taking tests. Don't tell yourself you're going to flunk the test. Tell yourself that you want to try your best and that you study as much as you could and you got this in the bag. And if there's anything you don't know, it does not reflect who you are and what you know and what you're about to become. Period. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video.